Agenda item 7, questions from members of the Council. One question has been received from members. So agenda item 7A, question number 1 from a member regarding housing. Would members please refer to supplementary agenda number 1? I call upon Councillor Constantine.
Thank you very much, Chair. Can I just preface this question by reminding the Chamber that currently in the UK there are 4.1 million children living in poverty, and that since 2010 progress on social mobility has gone into reverse. You will recall that Thanet has the highest child poverty rates in Kent and in the South East, and that's what drives this question. So my question, which is to Councillor Lesley Game, can you tell me how the Conservatives are planning to manage our current housing crisis? How many families with children are impacted by the need to move into temporary accommodation? What are you planning to do to curb and manage the costs associated with providing temporary accommodation for these families and children?
Thank you, Councillor Constantine, and members will note that that was originally meant for the leader, but with consent it is now going to be responded by the portfolio holder. So I now call upon Councillor Gain to respond.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Constantine, for your question. Homelessness is a national crisis, not just a crisis in Thanet, a national crisis. The Local Government Association have reported that there are 120,540 children living in temporary accommodation with their families that has been provided by local authorities throughout the country. This represents a 37% increase since 2014. This crisis has been driven by a severe shortage of affordable homes to rent and the increasing cost of the private rented sector. Research published by the Joseph Rowntree Foundation in 2017 showed that 3.4 million households, 40% of renters in England, are spending more than a third of income on their rent. This has risen from 32%, 2.7 million households in 2005/6. The introduction of the Homeless Reduction Act in 2017 does refocus the work of local councils on homelessness prevention, but will not in itself resolve the shortage of suitable, affordable accommodation. This national picture is reflected locally. The Council currently, as at Monday 9th of July 2018, has 168 households placed in temporary accommodation. We have been working hard to ensure that households in temporary accommodation are moved on as quickly as possible and to improve the quality of temporary accommodation provided. This represents a slight reduction from the position at the beginning of the year, and further reductions are projected for the remainder of the year. Of this number, 71 households are families with children, all of whom have self-contained accommodation, including 11 families in council-owned flats or houses. There are currently no families with children in temporary hotel accommodation. Overall, the Council's use of hotel accommodation has significantly reduced since January, down from 51 households at the start of the year to 26 households by the 30th of June. The Council continues to invest in building new homes, investing £30 million to deliver 150 new homes by 2020. We expect to complete 20 homes during the current financial year, and construction is progressing well, with a further 49 homes due to start over the same period. We have additionally set aside £1.6 million for new temporary accommodation to help reduce the overall cost of homelessness to the Council, and are currently looking for a suitable site to develop. Since the implementation of the Homelessness Reduction Act, on 3rd of April, the Council has supported 187 households with a personal housing plan and successfully prevented 92 households from becoming homeless in the first place. We have enhanced our housing options team to provide these services and improve the effectiveness of homelessness prevention. We have set aside funding in the current year for homelessness and have launched a new incentive scheme, the Landlord Incentive Scheme, to encourage private sector landlords to make homes available for households in need. Since April, we have provided financial assistance to 42 households to help them access a private sector home. The work that has been completed to prevent homelessness, construct new homes and support people living in temporary accommodation has both improved the outcomes for homeless people and reduced the cost of homelessness for the council.
Thank you, Councillor Gay. Councillor Constantine, do you have a supplementary question?
I do, thank you, Chair. I'm glad to hear there's some progress, but however, you say the situation is improving, and yet the cost of providing temporary accommodation has climbed a very steep curve since 2010 from about £50,000 to now about £1.2 million. So that would kind of indicate that we do indeed have a crisis. I think 71 households with children homeless in Thanet is 71 families with children too many, frankly. I'm getting to it. I've got a question. I'm getting to it. Shall I do it now? Yes. Thank you.
Please.
Can you comment on whether you think it's actually time to look again at the local plan, using the matter of the urgent need for social homes, of which Stonehill Park have promised 400 plus, as the key imperative? I believe this is what our residents want, and I believe that's our job as councillors.
Thank you, Councillor Constantine. Not exactly a question, preamble, but I'm quite lenient on those things. Would you like to respond, Councillor Gay?
Thank you. The issue of the local plan is something that is still being worked on, as you know. What I would like to suggest to you, actually, is we are all aware that homelessness is a great issue, and I'd like to arrange a meeting for you to come and meet the head of housing and the housing options manager, so we can talk through ideas and see what we can all do to help this situation.
Thank you, Councillor Gay.